Let's go.
Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm back with another transfer talk rumour roundup covering all the incomings at Aston Villa and the potential outgoings at Aston Villa too. Make sure you smash that like button and hit that subscribe button. We're on the march to 6,000 subscribers, just over 100 to go. You can help us get there. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, get your comments in. It has been a really, really positive week for Aston Villa this week. A 4-0 victory against Roma, following up our tour to the US, and contract renewals galore. We'll get into that in a minute. A massive, massive potential signing. What a signing it's been, out of the blue, but one that we've been chasing a while. But in terms of the announcement, out of the blue and confirmed today, and then more links to highly rated players coming into Villa. So we're going to cover all of that across this next few minutes. So let's talk contract renewals, because Jacob Ramsey is the latest player to apparently have been offered or discussing terms on a new extension to his contract, looking like a 2-year extension to his deal. Now, there's been a lot of talk around Jacob Ramsey as to whether he would be available for transfer, whether he would be needed to be moved on for PSR reasons. Obviously, he's come through our academy. So there's been a lot of talk about that and whether we will be prepared to let him go. I was one who said, look, if we had to, I would be looking at potentially letting him go because of the ability to reinvest that money and the way it looks on the accounts. And also, he's probably been a little bit underwhelming over the last couple of seasons, partly due to his injuries, partly due to positions, partly due to his own form. But this would be a real boost and a real settle to the squad if we can get Ramsey firing, fit and firing. We've got a real player there, and adds to that attacking options that we have, in particularly in those forward positions. So look, if he signs his contract, really positive. It protects the asset even further. And then you move on to potentially doing the same with the likes of Morgan Rogers, which would be excellent. We've also seen Luca Dean sign his new contract this week, and that is really positive news as well. Been one of our most consistent performers over the last 3 or 4 seasons, and really, really stepped up last year when we brought Ian Maatsen in, and has made almost sort of pushed Maatsen to have to produce even more to get to take the position of Luca Dean. And we've seen how consistent he's been, and it bodes well for Aston Villa because we know we've got different options. We've got the solidity of the defensive and experience of a Luca Dean, and then we've got the attacking threat and the pace of Ian Maatsen. So 2 top quality left backs. And also, it's reported that he's took a bit of a pay cut as well, which shows the attitude that he's got to want to stay at Aston Villa. He didn't have to do that. I'm sure he could have made more money elsewhere, gone to Saudi, etc. But he wants to stay at the club. So that's really positive as well, and shows the atmosphere inside the club. So once again, extremely positive news surrounding Aston Villa. Now we talk it as well of contracts of the likes of John McGinn. Now it's looking like he's potentially going to be offered a new deal, because apparently Everton have made a bid for him and that was rejected out of hand by Aston Villa of £18 million, it was reported. However, that has kind of been a little bit debunked, and whether that was sort of just something that was put out there to fish, if you like, and to see if anyone would take the bait. I cannot see Aston Villa letting John McGinn go at all. He's the captain of the club. It will cause too much uproar right now to let him go. You'd be looking at that sort of deal being done early on, because you'd be thinking, well, who's going to replace him as captain? Who can we put through? Who's going to be the next cab on the rank? And that would cause a lot of upheaval in terms of things to have to set up behind the scenes. So absolutely, John McGinn is not going anywhere. And yes, it'd be good to see him sign a new deal and commit his future to Aston Villa as well. So really, really, really positive news. And that was topped off by this announcement and official signing of Evann Guessand today. Fantastic, fantastic potential in this player. and one who Aston Villa have been interested in for a long time. And I did say in January we were looking at this player, and I kind of thought that he fit the profile of what Aston Villa needed. Now, whether we could have done it in January or not remains to be seen, but we kept our powder dry, we kept tabs on him, and we got the deal done very quickly. And apparently Unai Emery played a key part in convincing Guessand that we were the right club for him. I'm sure wages, I'm sure Europa League, I'm sure everything else paid a big price as well. But Unai Emery is pivotal and key to signing so many of these players. Whatever he says to them, whatever he presents in front of them in terms of plans, in terms of strategy, in terms of project and how he's going to improve them, clearly works, because it has worked to secure so many players. And Evann Guessand is a wonderful, wonderful addition to the squad. When you look at his highlights, when you look at the type of goals he scores, when you look at the excitement that he brings, when he runs past players, when he can use both feet, he can score goals with his head. So we can keep him fit. If we can get him set up in our system, he can play anywhere across that front line as well. He will be a real weapon. And there's so many other clubs' fans talking about this player as being the potential signing of the summer. And for the price that we've managed to get him for, it should be a fantastic deal. Now, we know that players take a little bit of time to settle into Unai Emery's system. It's happened with Yuri Tillemans. It's happened with Daniel Marlin. It's happened with Ian Maatsen. Happened with Amadou Onana. So let's just stay patient with this player. Let's give him a bit of time. I'm sure he will want to hit the ground running, and he potentially will. But then he might have a bit of a dip, as many players do, and then we can build him back up again. So have the patience, but a great player on potential and fits the profile that we need. A 5-year deal, signed till 2030. Let's see what he brings. Evann Guessand, as I have called this episode. Now, we've also seen us linked to Alexis Saelemakers of AC Milan, probably due to AC Milan potentially having some issues with finances, and he might be available at a cheaper price. Now, keeping the Belgian connection, Yuri Tillemans, Amadou Onana in there as well. Maybe they've had a conversation with him. He's 26 years of age. Plays for AC Milan, as I've said, since 2020, appeared 99 times and scored 5 goals, but has also been on loan at Bologna, where he's played 30 times, scoring 4 goals, and Roma, where he played 22 times, scoring 7 goals, has 16 full caps for Belgium with 1 goal, operates in the wide areas. And if we look at his SOFA score stats, he has had a productive season last season. So we can see that he has a lot of ability and potentially could be a really good player for Aston Villa. Can play right midfield, can play right wing or left wing. We've got the passing, long balls, and high pressing as his attributes. Now, we've seen in pre-season Aston Villa pressing a lot higher and a lot more quick as a team. And maybe that's something that Unai Emery spotted that we can maybe capitalise on moving into the season. Operates predominantly down that right-hand side, but also on the left. And gets about the pitch, also gets back in to defend as well and helps out his defenders. 23 appearances, 18 starts, 7 goals, which is a pretty good return for those games. 2 big chances missed, 5 goals from inside the box, 2 from outside the box. And again, a combination of goals, 1 with the head, 4 with the left foot and 2 with the right foot, and also 2 penalties. 3 assists and 5 big chances created. 89% of accurate passes in his own half and 78 in the opposition half. 74% of long balls accuracy, and then 3.4 ball recoveries per game. So it works very hard for the team, and 1.5 tackles per game. 57% in terms of total duels won. 56% in ground duels won. So clearly a hard worker. Also pretty strong in the tackle for a wide player. So that's something that is interesting as well. And when they look at the market value of sort of 17, 18 million euros, you've potentially got a bit of a bargain on your hands there. So if we can get this deal over the line, it's apparently we were having talks and we're going to go in with an initial bid. I'd imagine somewhere in the region of 16, 17 million euros to test the water. And then we can see how AC Milan react to that and see if we can get it over the line. Now, what does that mean for players within the team? For me, I would be looking to sign him in addition to the players that we've got, because we've seen we get injuries. Morgan Rogers, a slight injury right now. We're still that little bit delicate in terms of our our squad in terms of our attacking positions. But it will probably mean that one player does have to move on, and that could be Leon Bailey. Now, he's looked fairly sharp in pre-season. I feel like he's got better every game in terms of his sharpness, in terms of his fitness, and in terms of his kind of ball retention and ability to go past players. I saw him the other night going around the outside, which is always a good sign with Leon Bailey, not always cutting in on the inside or trying to just pass the ball backwards. So that's a good sign. However, Besiktas did put in initial inquiries apparently last week. Now they've increased those inquiries and are potentially going to test the waters with a bid in the next couple of days. Now, Besiktas have signed a number of players. I believe Tammy Abraham is there at the moment, scored a hat-trick the other night. So they are actively looking to sign players, and it could potentially be somewhere that Leon Bailey goes and a deal that we look to explore, particularly if we can recuperate a good portion of the money that we spent on him. So watch this space with Leon Bailey. What do you think? Would you want to keep him alongside potentially signing someone, Alexis Saelemakers? We've obviously signed Evann Guessand. We've got Morgan Rogers. We look like we're keeping Jacob Ramsey. Emi Buendia, does he look like he has a future at Aston Villa? Scored a wonderful free kick the other night. He's looking a little bit sharper. What do we think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But more to come in terms of signings, it looks like, but potentially one or two outgoings. But it has been such a positive week. New contracts signed, new players signed. Everything looks settled now. Everything seems to be more settled. And, you know, it is difficult to not get carried away with all signings being made across different clubs, and Aston Villa seemingly like they're not doing anything and seemingly like they're going to lose this player and that player. But as it stands at the moment, we've managed to keep hold of key players. We need to get rid of one or two fringe players, but all in all, a really good window, but a fantastic week heading into these next two friendlies ahead of the big kickoff next week. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Smash that like button, hit the subscribe button if you've got this far and you haven't subscribed already. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. We'll be back with our season predictions show on Sunday, fans forum on Tuesday, and then it is all in line for the big kickoff next week against Newcastle. So make sure you stay tuned to the channel. Thank you all for watching, and as always, remember, we'll follow the Villa.